Okay, friends, welcome, welcome. So we'll find a cross-legged position to start class out with today. And just take a moment and find the front edge of your sit bones. So pull away or walk back a little bit. And then we can bring the full length of the spine into play. Close your eyes. Just land your hands down onto your knees. And then on an inhale, bring your shoulder heads high up towards your ears. And as you exhale, just roll the shoulder heads away from the ears and the back, maybe a sigh. And then just take that a couple more times. Just tapping into a deeper breath. Letting any stress or anxiety from the day start to melt away. And then eventually just letting your shoulder heads release down away from the ears on the back. Placing your hands where it feels comfortable. And then just take your air and bring it all the way down to empty. Draw air into your low belly and your low back. Hold there, and then fill into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Take your air all the way to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Hold your full breath, relax the shoulder heads. And then like you were quieting a child with your exhale, shh. Again, bring air into your low belly, into your low back. Hold there. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Hold there, and now fill all the way to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Hold your full breath, relax. And then again, like you're quieting a child, shh. Ujjayi breathing, so with your inhales, drawing the air in through the nose like you're sipping through a straw, slow and controlled. Same muscles in the back of the throat we were using to make that shh sound. And on the exhales, releasing out your nose, slow and controlled like you're fogging up a mirror. And those muscles, that control allows us to really slow down just the process of breathing, to get to concentrate in on it. And as we slow down and just get to focus in on our breathing, we just get this mental and this big emotional piece, this mindfulness piece, where we can for a little bit let go of the fixing, solving, planning, changing, worrying. And we just get to be here with our bodies and with our breath. And all of these postures, the one we're in right now, just a seated position with your spine up tall, they start to open, they start to lengthen. So as we go through class today, just stay with your breath, and we'll find that physical opening, that emotional opening, and that mental opening. As always, just take what works for me and leave the rest behind. You can bring your eyes open up front. Inhale to extend your arms wide, reach tall. And on your exhale, bring your hands into your heart center. And I want you just to take this a couple more times at your own pace, so you're just working with the full length of your breath. Fine, one more time from wherever you're at. And then when your hands come down into your heart center, take your legs out in front of you, out of our cross-legged position. You just relax your hands at your sides and just give a roll out through your ankles for a moment. And then we're going to go into some seated twists. So leaving right leg extended, take your left foot and plant it to the outside of your right thigh. Leave your right leg extended or bend your right knee so the heel comes to the outside of left sit bone. And then our twist is going to open us to the side. So you can wrap your right arm around the outside of your leg or place your elbow to the outside of that left knee. Take the left hand behind you. And then on an inhale, lengthen your spine up nice and tall in space. And as you exhale, twist from center and take your gaze back across your shoulder. Hold your body in that twist and now feel the breath moving through your body, those full inhales and those full exhales. And we're allowing our body to open, to release when those exhales roll through. You can stay right where you're at, or to stretch out the left side of your neck, tilt your right ear forward to your right shoulder. And as you're holding your head to the side, you could lift your chin up in space to get to the front left edge of your neck, or you could let your chin come forward and down to find the back left edge of your neck. And find those areas where it feels good to stretch out, where it feels good to breathe into. If your head is to the side, we'll do an inhale to reach it up in space. And on your exhale, twist from center and take your gaze back across your shoulder. So to move into our other side, you could uncross your legs, take your left leg out in front of you. Or if your legs are in the position that mine are in, we can stand up and do this funny twist where you land back down. So either way, if you're going the other way, it's your left leg extended, right foot's outside of your thigh. You can put that bend into the knee. Once you've got your legs in place, start to position your arms. So maybe wrapping around the leg or elbow outside of your knee. Right hand behind, and if you haven't yet, an inhale to lengthen your spine up tall in space. And then on your exhale, just to twist from center and take the gaze back across your shoulder. And we want to feel that broadening through the chest here. So letting those shoulder heads release down away from the ears on the back. And then just work through that slow, controlled breathing. Finding those deep points of the stretch at the end of those exhales. So stay right where you're at, or to get to the right side of your neck, just tilt your left ear forward to your left shoulder. Again, experiment maybe with the chin coming up in space or the chin coming down, finding the edges on the right side of your neck. If your head is to the side on an inhale, just bring the head back upright. One more exhale takes us to the twist, so gaze back across your shoulder. Get all the way down to empty. And then we can twist back forward, uncross your legs, and bring yourself forward into a tabletop position, facing up towards the front of your mat. You might lengthen your legs back in space for a moment from that tabletop just to bring some length back into them. And then we'll work with the wrists for a moment here. So turn the insides of your wrists when you're ready to face forward to the front of the room. Your palms are down to the mat, fingers point back, and your thumbs point to the left and to the right. And then you can stay here and rock side to side or back and forth with the palms rooted. You could also lean back in space, peeling the hands off the mat to your fingertips, and then rocking back forward so you're getting a full roll out through the circle of your palm, fingers, and the wrists. Whatever feels best to you here. And then continue to work with that breathing. Let's do the same thing with the back of the hands down to the mat. So your fingers could face in towards one another, or you could point your fingers back. And then just watch. You don't need a ton of pressure into the back of your hands here. Just a nice little massage for them, side to side, back and forth. Maybe lean back to the fingernails, peeling the hands off the mat, roll back forward. And then we'll sit into hero's pose for just a couple rounds of breath. So your sit bones back towards your heels. Tops of the feet are to the ground, knees are together. Take a moment and roll out through your wrists. Move into your fingers. And then we'll take a plank back into a downward facing dog. So once you've got your hands directly underneath your shoulders, you've got the lineup of that plank, hips on level with your shoulders, start to shift your hips back in space. Your toes might come in a little bit closer, but pretty much the distance from your hands to your feet in plank is what you're looking for in that downward facing dog. And then if you haven't yet, just walk out through your down dog or warm up your downward facing dog. Hips might shift a little side to side. Letting one heel pull down as the other knee bends and finding that breathing. Breathe into down dog, and on your next exhale, shift forward into your plank and lower halfway down. You can do this on your knees with your ankles crossed as well. Inhale is a push-up, bringing you back up at the top of the plank. And on your exhale, again, come halfway down, leading with sternum. Inhale, lifts back up to the top. We're doing one more of those push-ups. Exhale, halfway down. Awesome. Inhale, lift back up. And then a slow exhale all the way down onto your belly, low cobra. Tops of the feet root to the ground. Slide your palms a little lower down the torso. Squeeze the elbows in towards one another. And then find that lift of your chest up off the ground. Lift your neck up off the ground. Bring the length into the back of your neck. And there's little to no pressure in the palms to the point where if you want, just lift your palms slightly up off the floor here. So you're feeling that in your back. You're feeling it in your core. And then on an exhale, come back down to the ground. Take your arms out wide off the sides of your mat. Press to your fingertips. Imagine there's cupcakes underneath your hands here. And then on an inhale, you're going to lift all the way up nice and tall. And you can stay right where you're at. Or on an exhale, you could twist your left shoulder down towards your right hand. An inhale could bring us back up tall in space. And then on an exhale, you could twist the right shoulder over towards the left. One more inhale brings us tall up in space. And then on the exhale, lower down to the ground. And your choice of how you make your way to down dog, you could go through plank or you could go through tabletop. So just shifting those hips back in space. Palms slightly wider than your shoulders. Circle of the palms spread into the mat. Fingers spread into the mats. Weight of the head released. Elbows micro bent and biceps toned into center line like you're holding tennis balls between ears and biceps. Hip lifting up tall and then letting the heels pull down behind you. Feet right at about hip bone distance. Stay with that breathing, friends. Relax the weight of the head. Give a couple rounds of breath. Bring some life to it. And start to take baby steps on the balls of your feet to forward fold at the top of your mat. You can move to your fingertips at any point in time. Once you arrive in your forward fold, on your inhale, come halfway up, pressing to your shins or to your thighs, micro bend the knees. Spine comes parallel to the ground, and then tone your shoulder blades in. Gaze is down to the ground, lengthen through the back of the neck. Draw a deep inhale here, and as you exhale, let your torso refold completely down. Fingertips connect to the ground and give the head a slow nod, yes. And a slow side-to-side nod, no. And if your fingertips don't go right down to the ground, just add that bend into your knees until you've got them down and build the length through the back of your legs. With the weight in the head, the weight in your arms, vertebrae by vertebrae, wind up to standing. You'll have your head be the very last thing that stacks up. And then when it does, inhale to reach your arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center. Inhale, lengthen and lift, breathe into mountain. And on your exhale, control your swan dive. Hinge out from the hips, a little bend into your knees. We move through that half lift, fold forward, release head. Inhale brings us halfway up, lengthen through the spine, strengthen around it. On your exhale, refold. You could take a ragdoll frame, opposite hand to the outside of opposite elbow or bicep, and just sway that side to side. Or you could interlace the fingers at the knuckles and place the hands behind the base of the skull, elbows out wide. Same idea though, where you're letting it just sway side to side or lightly rock back and forth. And the movement you're doing with your torso, I like to think about it, it's like what you would see like a light breeze moving through a tree, the way it would grab the branches and just kind of sway the branches. We're doing that kind of slow, controlled movement. Release the arms when you're ready from here and step back into the top of your plank position. Excellent, friends. Breathe in at the top, and then you can go right to down dog, or we exhale to come halfway down, root to the tops of both of the feet, and we find upward facing dog. You can also replace this with a low cobra. In up dog, just checking that the hips aren't down to the mat. We're lifting the hips off the mat, connected to the feet, connected to the hands, and then those shoulder heads are down away from the ears and the back. Take your transition to down dog from that upward facing dog or from that low cobra. Third time into this pose, as we come back to this pose, this is kind of a hub for the power yoga practice. As we come back into this pose, just check that you're not checking out, that you're still engaged inside of it. When we come back into it, you find those connection pieces. We find that breath inside of it. Okay, deep breath into your down dog, and on your exhale, just bend your knees and take your step or your float all the way up to the top of the mat, forward fold, so feet come up into the hands. Inhale halfway up to lengthen through your spine, strengthen around it. On the exhale, refold, and then this time we'll do a reverse swan dive. So toning to center, pushing to the ground, inhaling arms tall, and with your exhale, cactus your arms open and take a baby back bend, squeezing the shoulder blades towards one another. Inhale to reach back up tall in space, and on the exhale, just root your hands to your heart center. So leave your right foot down to the mat, and we'll start to draw the left knee up in space to a one-legged mountain. So left knee is bent at 90. And just like you were doing a regular mountain, extend your arms up tall in space. Find an object in front of you that's not moving that you can fix your gaze on, and let your left thigh plug back into your hips here. So there's the press off the ground, the extension up through your arms. We're going to move from here and play with Dakasana Airplane, where we swim the left leg back in space and draw the arms back in space. And we're doing low cobra with the chest here, low cobra with the back, low cobra with the shoulders. If you're starting to turn that front of your left hip open to the left, let it point down and back. So we've got the hips more on the same level with one another in space. And if you find yourself teeter-tottering in and out of the pose, no worries. Just stay playful with your balance. Breath is awesome. That fixed gaze is awesome. We'll take the left foot to the back of the mat and find a high lunge. You might land exactly where you want, or you might have to reposition once the ball of the left foot taps down into the ground. Immediately start to tone this pose in. So feel those thighs pulling to center line. Lower the hips down where we've got that lunge, knee right over your heel. Press down into your foot, grip through your foot, and then let the muscles of your leg do their job for your knee. So wrap down around the knee, and then feel your glute lifting up away from your knee and back. Nice and tall through your fingertips and connecting with your breath. So using that power to feel into your breathing while you're here. Awesome. Ball the left foot off the ground, coming forward. Breathe in, and on an exhale, open into Warrior Two. The length of your stance from the front of the mat might remain the same, or it might open a little bit longer as you press down into the knife edge of that left foot, as you tone through your left leg to the ground, as you let your right sit bone come underneath the body, and then stay with that lunge that you just had. Rather than leaning forward through the chest, straight up through your spine, controlling this pose from your center, extending arms out wide, and then releasing the shoulder heads down away from the ears on the back. And take your drishti, Sanskrit for gaze, out across your front fingertips. Shoulders might even slightly tone in towards one another, so the shoulder heads move down and we're opening through the chest. Right palm to the sky, take a breath in. And then as you reverse your warrior, you can take left hand to your hip thigh or behind you. Watch that you don't lift up out of your lunge as you reverse your warrior, but we stay deep into the lunge as we draw the right arm up tall in space. Gaze can come up with the hand, up with the elbow, up with the forearm. You could also take your gaze to the left or down to your left foot behind you. Just creating a lot of space from your right hip crease all the way up through your side body, through your rib cage. And feeling that breath in the body. Excellent, friends. Breathe in, reverse warrior, and on your exhale, take extended side angle pose. So bring your right forearm to your right thigh. Left hand can reach straight up in space or pull on a diagonal from your back left leg. Find that lift through your inner right side body here. If you feel your back left hip popping up, lower back left hip on level with your right. With our inhale, rise back up into your warrior two. And on an exhale, we can cartwheel the hands down to frame the right foot, turn onto the ball of the left, and then reach your right leg back and up to a three-legged downward facing dog. So pressing through your heel or pressing through the ball of the foot. Your left leg is going to help you with your right leg reaching up and back in space. If you find yourself sinking down into your left hip, find that activation around your left hip so it's helping to lift and extend your right leg back and up in space. And then on the exhale, shift forward into a three-legged plank, and it's your choice on your vinyasa, on your flow. Maybe you go right to down dog. Maybe you drop it halfway down to chaturanga dandasana. Maybe it's low cobra, or maybe it's upward facing dog. And then we meet back in down dog. So again, we're kind of back to that hub. We're back to that's that place that we get to a bunch of times. And as you come back into it, check in. Listen to the sound of your breath. Feel the movement of your breath in your body. Keep that mindful link roaming. Your next exhale, bend your knees. Look between the hands. Find your step or your float to forward fold at the top of your mat from your down dog. Release the head as you get up. Inhale halfway now. Lengthen the spine. Strengthen around it. On your exhale, refold. Hold navel to spine at empty. Push away from the ground and reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms wide, tall. And on the exhale, cactus your arms open. Take a baby back bend. Inhale to draw back up through the arms. Tadasana mountain. And on the exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Samastihiti. This time we'll let the left foot be the base as we draw the arms and the right knee up into our one-legged mountain. So feeling that big left toe connected to the ground so you're spread out into the base of your left foot. Arch is nice and active on that left foot. That thigh lifting up in space, coming back in towards you, extending through your arms. And then from here, we'll play with Dakasana Airplane. So you start to take that right leg and swim it back in space as you shine your heart to the front of the room. There's length through the back of your neck, but your gaze is up and forward. So if there was a mirror in front of you, you'd be looking at yourself in the mirror. You'd be seeing yourself doing this pose. If you're starting to point your toes or the front of your right hip to the right side of the room, start to point those toes down as the leg reaches back. So there's some similarities with our Warrior 3 if you're familiar there. And when you're ready, friends, just take that step from our airplane back into high crescent lunge. And right foot might land exactly where you want it for your high crescent lunge, or you might do some repositioning here. And then feeling those thighs pulling in. Feeling that back right heel coming forward. Feeling the strength around your left knee. So firing up from your base of your foot, through your lower leg, through your upper leg, all the way through your glutes. And then you're set up just to extend those arms up nice and tall. Pinkies forward, thumbs back, so you're turning the palms to face one another. Insides of biceps are turning in, and shoulder heads can come down away from the ears and the back. Breathe in, and when your exhale comes, just open to your Warrior 2. So knife edge of the right foot to the ground. Maybe you lengthen your stance. Spread out through those arms. Let the shoulder heads release slightly away. Tone your shoulder blades in towards one another. Awesome, and just gaze out across those front fingertips. Riding out those waves of breath. turn left palm to the sky, breathe into it. And on your exhale, you'll reverse your warrior. So right hand to your hip thigh or behind you, reaching up tall through that left side body. Gaze could come up in space. And again, creating that length from your left hip crease all the way up through your side body. So recommitting to that knee right over your heel. Feeling down into the knife edge. Breathe in on your reverse warrior. And as you exhale, come into your extended side angle pose. And if you're working with the forearm to your thigh versus the length of your arm down the inside of your leg, we want to watch that we're not relaxing into the forearm through the side body. So as you push into your forearm into your thigh, feel your left side body lifting away from the left thigh. And if you want to check that one out, maybe just lift for a moment your left forearm off your left thigh. So then you start to feel that oblique work that's happening here, that side body work that's happening. Use your breathing. Stay connected through that back foot. And on an inhale, come back up into your warrior two. And as you exhale, cartwheel your hands down into a low lunge position. We'll take it to three-legged downward facing dog. Left leg pulls back and up in space. Press the heel or the ball of the foot back up to the wall behind you. Root into your palms. Lift back up through your leg. Breathe in, and on your exhale, shift forward into your plank. Your choice of how you make your way to down dog, whether you shift directly back or you work through Chaturanga Dandasana or low Cobra, up dog, and eventually making our way into down dog. Breathe in, downward facing dog, and on the exhale, bend your knees, look between your hands, step or float up, forward fold. Inhale halfway up, lengthen through the spine. On the exhale, refold. Hold navel to spine at empty, and then reverse swan dive. Inhaling arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, take that baby back bend, that cactus through the arms. Inhale, reach back up tall in space. And hands to your heart center on your exhale. So we'll take that sun salutation now, breath to movements. So one inhale to one pose, one exhale to the next. Use the full length of your breath and stay connected. On an inhale from Samastahiti, we'll draw the left knee and the arms up to one-legged mountain. As you exhale, swim back into Dakasana Airplane. Inhale to high crescent lunge, planting the ball of the left foot to the back of the mat. And exhale to warrior two, right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale, reverse your warrior, reach up through the arm. And as you exhale, come into extended side angle pose, right forearm to right thigh. Inhale, reverse your warrior, inhale warrior two rather. And then exhale to bring the hands down to a low lunge position. Inhale, draws the right leg back up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, you can shift forward to your plank or go right to down dog. Maybe come halfway down. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. Exhale brings us back down dog. Breathe in down dog, and on your exhale, bend the knees, take your step or float up to your forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale halfway up, lengthen through the spine, strengthen around it. Exhale, refold. Reverse swan dive, inhale, arms wide, tall. And on the exhale, cactus, arms open, baby back bend, lift through chest. Bring the hands to the heart center when you're ready, and we'll take the other side. So rooting into your left foot, inhale, draws arms and right knee up into your one-legged mountain. And as you exhale, swim back into your airplane. Inhale to high crescent lunge, ball of right foot back of mat. And then exhale, warrior two, left arm back. Inhale, reverses your warrior. And on your exhale, move into extended side angle pose, left forearm, left thigh. Inhale back into your warrior two. And on your exhale, cartwheel, hands down, low lunge. Inhale, left leg back up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, make your way through your vinyasa, through your flow, your version of it. Take a deep breath into that down dog. And on the exhale, just sigh, release out the mouth. Lower down to your knees. And then drop one of your hips to the ground and bring your legs forward. We'll take the weight onto our backs. Release the weight of your head to the ground and just draw your knees into your chest. Awesome. Next bit of class, we're going to work through some movement for our core muscles, so some strengthening for our core muscles. And the first place we'll do this from, you're on your back. Just reach your legs straight up in space. Leave your hips connected to the ground. And then grab your hamstrings and lift your head and shoulders off the ground so your gaze is towards your thighs. Now reach your arms forward to the front of the room. Work with your breath as you start to reach forward through your left arm. And then you reach forward through your right arm. So feeling that work through your obliques, through your side bodies. We'll come back to this movement in a moment, but for now, reach both of your arms straight up in space. Feel that flexion through your abdominal wall, through your core. If your neck needs support, take one hand back behind the base of your skull. Keep breathing. You're doing awesome. Perfect, friends. Go back into that movement. We'll do it for a little bit more, side to sides. And then we're going to take a restorative posture on our backs as a rest. You're almost there. When you're ready for it, bottoms of feet together, knife edge of the feet to the ground, knees wide, legs create a diamond shape. Relax your arms where it feels comfortable, rest your head, and work through that breath. This is our Supta Baddha Konasana, so our recline bound angle pose. One more full round of breath. And then find a reverse tabletop. So hands behind the base of your skull, head and shoulders up off the ground. And then the knees are bent at 90, bottoms of feet are pointing forward to the front of the room. So the movement piece that we'll work with here is extending our legs out to a full diagonal. And on your inhale, reach your legs straight up. And as you exhale, lower the legs back to the diagonal. So take this at your own pace. And then when your legs are fully extended on the diagonal, rather than there being an arch in your low back, you want to feel your low back is pinned, is rooted down into your mat. Next time your legs hit that diagonal, we'll hold the legs on the diagonal. Keep breathing. You got it. Back into your movement. So inhale reaches straight up. Exhale, control that lower to that diagonal point, that halfway point. And then lower the feet to the ground, relax your head. Your knees are up in space. Just walk your feet out wide to the edges of your mat and then open your arms up in a T from your chest with the palms down. And on an exhale, we can take the knees to the left, onto the outside edge of the left foot, inside edge of the right. Your gaze can go to the right. On an inhale, bring the feet or the knees up to center, feet flat to the ground. Exhale switches you to the right, so outside edge of the right foot, inside edge of the left. Gaze can go to the left. And just take this a couple more times from side to side, working with your breathing. And as you're feeling balanced out, just bring your knees in, grab your hamstrings, and then with your momentum and your core strength, start to rock from your back all the way up to your sit bones. And you can do this a couple of times from the base of the skull all the way forward and up. And then we're going to meet up on our sit bones. We're in our boat pose, so drawing your heels up off the ground. And then we're going to work with an opening and a closing in boat. So on your inhale, you can bring your knees in, arms can go forward or wrap around your legs. And then on your exhales, just take that opening. So inhale, close through your arms, Exhale, open. Nice. Okay, the next time that you open, you're in your version of boat. So whether your knees are bent or whether your legs are lengthened, whether your hands are behind the legs or arms are opened, bring up the chest. Let the shoulder blades tone in, shoulder heads down away from the ears on the back. And then a little bit more of that movement piece, inhaling to bring in, exhaling to open back up. Next time that you bring it in, we'll cross the ankles, come forward into a tabletop position, and take some time in cat and cow. Cows are where we're bowing the spine, dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone and chest. And then cats are where we're rounding through the back, dropping the head, mid-back goes high, dropping through the tailbone. From that tabletop, just drop your elbows down to the ground so they're underneath your shoulders. You're on your forearms. Hook opposite hand around the outside of opposite elbow so you're cupping opposite elbow. And then we'll open the arms back up on parallel with one another. Keep the elbows at that distance from each other. Root down into the bellies of your forearms, spread into your palms, and then step your toes to the back of the mat so you're in a forearm plank position, hips on level with your shoulders. For Dolphin, now start to walk your toes up towards your elbows. Relax the head to look behind you. This is a lot of core strength. It's also a ton of shoulder strength because your shoulder blades are coming in towards one another, then they're sliding back up, lifting back up towards your hips, bringing your sternum to lift back up towards your thighs as you root down. Both feet are connected, or on an inhale, reach your right leg back and up, find a three-legged dolphin. Lengthen the underside of your armpits as you press down into the elbows and lift back up on an exhale. If right leg is lifted, release it to the ground. Switch your legs out. Inhale, left leg back and up. And one more inhale takes left leg up. And on your exhale, bring it to the ground. And then to get to down dog, just lengthen your arms out in space. Make any adjustments you need to with the feet to the hands, the distance of the feet to the hands, or anything else. On an inhale, reach the right leg back up tall in space. And as you exhale, we'll step up into a low lunge position. For warrior one, drop the knife edge of your left foot to the ground. Walk your feet out a little bit wider so they're on the heels are on railroad tracks. And then draw your arms up in space. In warrior one, the angle of your back foot, maybe it's not exactly like warrior two. So warrior two, it's pointing to the left. Maybe in warrior one, we're bringing that foot up a little bit so we start to twist the left hip forward a little bit. Feel your right thigh plugging back into your body. Open up through the arms here. Beautiful, friends. On an exhale, swim the hands behind. Interlace your fingers at your knuckles. Inhale the chest up in space, knuckles down. And as you exhale, bow forward, humble warrior. Release the weight of your head. Your right shoulder hovers above your right thigh, rests on it, or is coming to the inside of it. You can get active through your arms where you add a slight bend into your elbows and then pull your elbows slightly forward as your knuckles extend up towards the sky. Stay strong with your legs. This is a hybrid of a lunge position and a forward fold at the same time. And then on an inhale, we'll lift back up into our warrior one. And as you exhale, cactus your arms open inside of that warrior one. Bring your right elbow forward in space, and for eagle arms, you'll wrap your left elbow underneath your right, and then you're looking for the palm, wrist, or thumb on that right hand to hook onto. You could also do opposite hand to opposite elbow, or opposite shoulder rather. Start to come to a one-legged mountain with eagle arms, so you're rooted to your right foot, and then you're bringing your left knee up in space. Okay, notice the length in your spine. As we move into full eagle, wrapping the left thigh around the right thigh, rather than leaning your spine forward like chair, leave your spine upright like mountain. So sit bones drop low, but your spine is straight up in space. As you wrap thighs, you can flex the left foot out to the side, press it outside of the right calf, or wrap it behind the calf. If elbows are sinking to chest, you want to start to draw those elbows up away from chest. So there's 90 degrees from your chest to your triceps, and then 90 degrees from your biceps to your forearms. And I love eagle because it's this weird balance pose where you're getting to push and pull against your own body in order to find your balance. And one that is seemingly contradictory to begin with, but then we start to feel into it, we start to feel into our balance, we start to feel the way that we can find that push and pull balance of our own arms and our own legs to hold the posture. On an inhale, draw that left knee back up, keep eagle arms, and then warrior 3 with eagle arms on your exhale. So push your left heel to the wall behind you. Spine is now parallel to the ground, gaze is to the ground. Turn your left toes down to the ground so the front of your left hip is to the ground and your left hip's on level with your right. Find that half lift in your chest. You're doing awesome, yogis. Find the breath. And then on an inhale, come back into a high crescent lunge. And as you exhale, bring the hands down into a low lunge position. So for pigeon, we can walk the right foot over to the left side of the mat and then drop the right knee over to the right. You can also do recline pigeon on your back. We can adjust the legs as we need to, so you can slide your left leg back a little bit. And then I like taking just a lift up before I settle to my forearms, whatever works for you. I like the lift up because I feel the shape of my legs and my hips. And then when I can come down into the pose on the elbows, I can release the weight of the head down to the forearms or the hands. We retain that shape in the hips. Whether you're on your back in recline pigeon or whether you're in this half pigeon, we find the engagement around the pose. So this is a big stretch, right? It's about releasing, it's about letting go. But there's also those ways that we stay engaged, where you're feeling that left thigh bone gently pull down towards the ground. This is half pigeon. You're feeling your right sit bone pull a little bit to the back right corner of your mat, so you're gently spreading your hips open while you're here. You can feel that right shin gently coming forward in space or holding its position. Checking if the shoulders are holding in towards your ears, relaxing through those shoulders, releasing through the shoulders. Use your breathing. Get down to the end of the breath. And then we'll take that press into an upward facing pigeon. You can tuck the left toes, draw your right leg back and up. Bring any movement through it that you want. You can go directly to down dog from here, or if you want to take a flow, we can go into that push up halfway down, inhaling to our upward facing dog, and then coming back into our down dog. Awesome. As we come back to this down dog, on an inhale, just reach your left leg back up tall in space. And on your exhale, just step your foot up in between your hands, find a low lunge position. Knife edge of the right foot to the ground. Maybe your heels are a little bit wider from one another as you come up into warrior 1 with your left leg forward. Again, check in with the angle you've got on the back foot. Maybe it's forward a little bit more than it would be in warrior 2. And watch that we're not coming onto the inside edge of that back foot. We're pressing down into the knife edge of that back foot, twisting forward, finding the gaze. Once you've got your warrior one, on your exhale, drop your hands, interlace your knuckles. Inhale the knuckles down as your chest lifts. Maybe elbows are slightly bent already. And then on the exhale, bow forward, humble warrior. Releasing head completely. My first yoga instructor, she called this Ostrich Pose. And her cueing was all about letting the weight of the head bury down into the sand like an ostrich. So letting the weight of the head totally relax here. From our humble warrior, we inhale back up to our warrior one. And as you exhale, cactus your arms open. To create our eagle arms, bring your left elbow in front. And then wrap your right elbow underneath the left. Find the palm, wrist, or thumb, opposite hand to opposite shoulder. Once you got it in place, stand up on your left leg. Bring your arms and your right knee with you. And then keeping the spine up nice and tall, start to find your eagle. So wrapping your right thigh around your left thigh. Awesome. Think about sit bones dropping low rather than spine hinging forward. Spine is straight up in space. Lift those elbows up away from body. And then you're looking past your arms. You're finding something in front of you can focus the gaze on. And then staying playful. If you're teetering or tottering or coming in and out of it, not a problem. Keeping the eagle arms. Inhale brings our right knee back up in space. And then the next play is warrior three. The next pose, warrior three. We keep the eagle arms. Gaze is down to the ground. You're pressing your right heel into the wall behind you, lifting the right heel up on level with your hip, and then point the right toes down to the ground. That's going to help to point the front of your right hip down to the ground, bringing your hips on level with one another. You can unwind when you're ready, back into a high crescent lunge, so releasing the arms. And then on an exhale, bring your hands down to a low lunge, and we'll take our other side of pigeon. So walking now the left foot over to the right side of your mat, lowering the knee, top of the right foot to the ground. You can slide your right leg back a little bit. However you like to get yourself into it. If you want to take that lift, upward facing pigeon, you can press into your fingertips or your hands. And then just when you're ready for it, start to lower down, letting the weight of the head make its way to the ground or to your mat or to your hands or to a block. Inside of the yoga practice, we're always keeping the ego in check. So sometimes the ego likes to tell us that we are, we're not doing a pose, or we can't do yoga until it looks a certain way. So those kind of thoughts, we kind of get out to the side, because this is about the expression of your body right here, right now in the posture. And that's what creates yoga, is you practicing with your body, not about reaching an end game. And so again, we let those minds, we tap into a meditative state, we tap into a mindful state with our breath to let those thoughts just keep flowing down the river. And we keep tapping back into just being right here and being right now, being present. Fabulous. So press to your hands, lift up through chest, tuck through those back right toes, and then reach your left leg back and up into a three-legged down dog. Maybe you open the hip and bend the knee, or pump the leg out, or works whatever. If you'd like to take another flow, we can work from our plank to our chaturanga, last up dog or low cobra. And then we're in our last downward facing dog. Deep breath into it. And then when you're ready, you can just release down to the ground, drop one of your hips to the floor, bring your legs forward. From your seat, slide your heels up to the top of your mat with your legs extended. Reach your arms straight up in space, and then walk your sit bones back like 2 or 3 steps through each sit bone. There might be a little bit of a bend in your knees at this point, and it's like you're doing mountain. We're just doing it from the front edge of the sit bones. And you breathe in, and then on your exhale, we'll take that forward fold, so it's swan dive out from the hips. Connect your hands to your feet mat or the legs, and then on an inhale, like you're on a road bike, lift up to your chest, slide those shoulder blades down, the shoulder heads down. And on the exhale, you can refold, now bringing your gaze down to the ground. And you can add or subtract the bend in the knees as you need to be inside of the pose and to find that Goldilocks level of sensation to work with, that not too much, not too little place. Nice, deep breathing. You got it. Inhale, just bring your arms back up nice and tall, full length of the body. And as you exhale, just bring your hands down to the ground and then slide your hips up, plant your feet. Feet are at hip bone distance. And then core strength, vertebrae by vertebrae, lowering us down to the ground. When your head hits, you're pretty much ready for bridge pose. You can step your heels in a little bit closer towards your sit bones so they're underneath your knees. Press into your triceps with your elbows bent. And then with the head relaxed, lift the hips up, maybe the shoulder blades come in a little bit closer towards one another. Feel all corners of your feet in bridge pose rooted down to the ground. Stabilize those knees up above the heels. And feel that lift up through the hips that gets that stretch right into your low back. Your next exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll down into the ground. When your hips land, let them rock forward. There's an arch in your low back. And then on your inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, peel the hips back up into bridge pose. Exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll down, hips rock forward, tailbone plants, arch in low back. We're doing that one more time. Inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, peel hips off the mat, lift up to bridge. Final release down on that exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae. And this time you can just bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around them, and just give yourself a little rock side to side. Or if you want to move into happy baby, let the knees open wide. And just hook the peace sign fingers to your big toes or the hands to the edges of your feet. And then we just take that rock side to side. And in happy baby, you've got the knees bent so the bottoms of the feet are up, shining up to the sky, the soles of the feet. Weight of the head is relaxed. Reach your left leg flat out in front of you. Draw your right knee up into your chest. Take a deep breath. And on an exhale, left hand draws the right knee down over to the left, onto the outside edge of the left hip. Right arm reaches to the right. Your gaze moves out across your fingertips in a spinal twist. If you want to, you could extend the right leg out to the left and reach your left hand further down the leg if you want to lengthen through that leg at the same time. And just getting to invite softness into your practice. Starting to let the weight of the body just release more to the ground as you breathe around the pose. And then we'll slowly switch the legs out on this one. So coming onto your back, right leg out in front of you. Hug the left knee up into your chest. And when you're ready, right hand can pull the left knee down over to the right. Left arm reaches out to the left and your gaze goes out, or whatever side you didn't do. Easy breathing. Once you've wrapped up the round of breath that you're on, come onto your back and just bring your knees in for one more rock side to side. Just massaging out your hips, sacrum, low back. And then we can make moves into our final resting pose, our corpse posture, Shavasana. So making yourself comfortable. And then letting the legs stretch out and the feet relax. Letting your arms stretch down along your sides and the hands relax. Feeling the weight of the head just down to the ground, closing through the eyes. nice and slow, just bring some life into your body. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Deepen your breath. Stretch your arms back behind you in space. Reach your feet, your toes all the way in front of you. And then roll the weight of your body onto your side, curling up into a fetal position. Relaxing the weight of your head to your outstretched arm. Taking a deep breath, filling up. And then sighing it out. We'll come back to where we started our class at, so a comfortable cross-legged position. And as you bring yourself up off the ground, keep your eyes closed, so keep that internalized experience going. You can draw the flesh away from the sit bones, finding the front edge. And then inhale to reach the arms wide and tall. And as you exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center, thumbs to your sternum, head relaxed to your hands. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether it is clear to you or not, no doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. Have a beautiful rest of the evening, friends. Much love. Namaste.